Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Palladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back aboard with you once again today, as finally we have the annual Granddaddy of the Year. This time would be the State of the Vikings 2026 edition. This is also episode 481 of Purple Mafia, so gosh, about 19 to go, and well, there you go, 500. Woo, 500. It took almost 20 years, but yeah, 500. Well, there aren't that many games every season, dang it. And yes, and I have hiatuses, but maybe I won't have as many now because I'm semi-retired from the lawn service. It's a miracle. I'm semi-retired from the lawn service. Yes, I can still help here and there with cleanups, but I'm not going to do the daily grind anymore, so maybe that'll be more opportunity to record Purple Mafia a little bit in the off season than years past. With that said, though, yes, State of the Vikings 2026. Apologize, it's probably a little on the later side this year. It kind of ebbs and flows every year. Like, hey, got it out by February 27th. Ooh, got it out by March 5th. Okay. Wow, March 12th. What's going on? Yeah, so it's kind of happened a few years where it's been later than others. So, again, apologize. A little on the later side this year. I've been working Saturday after Saturday after Saturday after Saturday. But today I was able to work earlier in the Saturday and could start recording at least segment number 1 in Saturday evening. I like to kind of have I need to have some time to record the darn show. So it is what it is. And yes, we'll get this done, finally. Well, the first segment, oftentimes we put a purple bow on the season and pass out the awards and demerit. 2 awards and 1 demerit for, every year. But also there's a poll and you get the potential nominees. There's going to be 4 nominees for each thing. The 2025 Minnesota Vikings MVP, 2025 biggest disappointment, and 2025 biggest surprise of the season. So, biggest surprise. Those are the annual Purple Mafia awards for the players. Sometimes it's coaches, but usually it's players. I prefer that way. And then, of course, have that out on Twitter for the polls. There wasn't a whole lot of participation in this, unfortunately, but there was some. And those of you that did, I appreciate you. Like, you just don't know how much I do. And I don't know, Purple Mafia, the Twitter account, has been shadow banned, I think, for years. And I don't know what the heck for. It just has. It's just been shadow banned. And I don't know how to fix it, honestly. Facebook page and my whole overall Facebook account, the main one, was hacked. And I'm not sure what to do with that either. So I had to recreate a new account. And, well, I have like about 100 friends now. The other one had like 1,500, so it's like, it is what it is. Not that all of them were people I know, of course, because that's impossible. Just certain times, sometimes it's groups of people you kind of agree with on this and agree with on that, like be it sports or politics or crypto stuff or whatever. So if you want crypto stuff, the Mysterious Adventures, I highly recommend that one. Yes, Mysterious Adventures podcast, otherwise the Vikings, right here with Purple Mafia. So yes, we put the bow here in segment 1. Segment 2 is free agent and draft, and segment 3 is fan interaction. But we will probably go to some fan interaction regarding the polls and the conversation of MVP and all that. So because I think it'd be bad if I just say, okay, I'll give you mine, and then we'll push your stuff way to the end of the show. Let's not do that. So I'm not going to do it that way. But there will be fan interaction that's not related to the poll. We'll save that for the end of the show. Or, well, the third segment, which is like the later in the show, to be honest. So let's get started on this bow. The 2025 season was definitely, well, we came in with high expectations. We were all excited. Oh, my God, the best free agency ever again. Oh, my God, Kwesi's got the perfect formula. Oh, yeah, he knows what he's doing with free agency. He kind of sucks at the draft, but, yeah, he kind of sucks at the draft, doesn't he? Huh. But, oh, look at the free agents he brought in last year. Surely he's going to do it again. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah, well, it felt like everything was going to be fine because this rookie quarterback we were all excited about stayed healthy through the preseason, even though he played about 5 snaps in the preseason. I know I'm slightly exaggerating. And God, this son of a gun can't complete a frickin' pass. This is a Monday night game versus the Chicago Bears, and of all places, that's where the young man grew up, is in the greater Chicago area. So that would be J.J. McCarthy, of course. We were all excited about it. And, man, we got all these veterans for the defense. This is going to be great. We got this veteran center, and it's like concussion. Yeah, concussion again and again and again. He had like 3 this year alone. And, yes, he has announced his retirement. We're going to get to that some more in the fan interaction segment as well. But, yeah, that was that. Pat Kelly, Ryan Kelly, I keep calling him Pat Kelly. Ryan Kelly, massive disappointment. Obviously, he'll be in that conversation. It was bleeping frustrating how that all came around. But a very disappointing free agency this time around. And when you can't rely on the draft because you can't draft right, and, there's that. You can't even draft right. So, and then you fail on your free agency as well. It's probably time for you to go. And, yeah, I mean, his very first draft pick, him being Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, was an abject failure. And at the end of the day, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is an abject failure, whether we like to say it or not. And I hate calling people that, but it is what it is. With that said, though, again, high hopes and all of that. J.J. McCarthy can't complete a damn pass. What the hell? Jeez, he's like 3 of 11 or whatever. He's got like 25 yards or something. It's like, what's going on? And then the fourth quarter happened, and it was like, oh, J.J. McCarthy. And 9 came out, basically. He became all of a sudden he became clutch. He was completing passes. He was throwing touchdowns. He was running into the end zone. It was like, this is exciting. At the end of the day, he threw for 143 yards, but he was extremely clutch and ran the ball into the end zone as well and led the Vikings to victory. And then he was the Offensive Player of the Week in his first game ever as a full-time starter in the NFL. His first game ever in the NFL, he became the Offensive Player of the Week. J.J. McCarthy. Vikings win in a spectacular fashion, 27-24, and it's like, my God, we beat the Bears. So much for Ben Johnson. We overcame that. And, obviously their defense is decent, and you got Ben Johnson. Little did we know the Bears would go on to win the division, but not in really spectacular fashion. They just won the division. They finished 11-6. Vikings, of course, would go on to finish 9-8. But we'll get back to how we got there. Again, exciting opening to the season. Everybody's pumped up like, okay, J.J. McCarthy just had some jitters, and it's like, it's his hometown. It's his first regular season game, and that Bears defense is kind of having its way. And then, oh, yeah, we'll be fine. I mean, Falcons, they're a mess. Oh, they suck. The Falcons suck. Like, they're an absolute mess. I don't know. Their GM, well, he ended up getting fired, too, because obvious reasons. Let's see. Let's sign Kirk Cousins to a, I don't know, like incredible astronomical amount of money, and then draft Michael Penix a couple weeks later, so it's like, okay, so what are we doing? The oldest quarterback in the draft who's got injury issues, but definitely talented, got a great arm. But right after you sign Kirk Cousins, it makes no sense. It's the oldest quarterback in the draft. What are we doing here, Atlanta Falcons? What are we doing? It makes no sense. Pick one or the other. Well, they eventually did pick Penix, but he got hurt again. Go figure. GM is fired. But, yeah, let's get back to week 2 of the 2025 season. 22-6 Atlanta. The defense for Atlanta was smothering. Beat the living hell out of this quarterback who was the Offensive Player of the Week. Penix was mediocre at best, 13 of 27, 153 yards. McCarthy threw for more yards in the game, but he was awful. 2 interceptions. Didn't seem like he seemed completely out of sync the whole time, and it turned out he had injured his ankle during the course of the game as well. That's injury number 2 for J.J. McCarthy, starting off with a meniscus last year. Here's injury number 2 for J.J. McCarthy. Quarterback rating of 37.5. The frustration would mount a bit, and it's like, oh, man, what the hell? Justin Jefferson would actually have one of his best games of the year, which is really sad. 3 catches and 81 yards. We'll review some of the stats later, too. Just alarming, pathetic numbers. But, Justin Jefferson had awful numbers this year because the quarterbacking wasn't all that great. McCarthy would get better as the year progressed, yes, but the overall quarterbacking for the season was not too great. McCarthy would go down. Well, we signed Carson Wentz. All right, we signed Carson Wentz, and the Vikings blow the Bengals to kingdom come. And it's like, okay, well, there's your quarterback for now. Yeah, and of course, Jake Browning, who beat us a couple of years ago in 23. A terrible, terrible season when McCarthy tore his Achilles. McCarthy, please, don't tear your Achilles, McCarthy. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles and all of that. Wentz would be 14 of 20 for a couple touchdowns. Looked wonderful. Quarterback rating of about 130. Jordan Mason also ran for 116 yards. It was a classic textbook victory a blowout in every fashion of the game. The Vikings were able to run the ball, they were able to throw the ball, and even Max Brosman would get his NFL debut, just kind of letting Wentz sit out because what the hell, they were blowing the hell out of him. Let's keep Wentz healthy. Little did we know Wentz would also run into injuries with his shoulder, which was really sad. 2 of 4 for Max Brosman for 29 yards. But a fun, exciting game, generally speaking, putting you, like, hey, we're 2-1 now. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Now we're going off to Ireland and England, basically. The Steelers and the Browns, let's sweep this. We should be fine. The Steelers aren't that great. And, we saw what we did to the Jets last year with Aaron Rodgers, but not so fast. Aaron Rodgers would be much more sharp in this one than before. He wasn't that great, but still a quarterback rating of about 120 and 200 yards. He only had 4 incompletions, Aaron Rodgers, in this game, and gained well in the game for 99 yards and 5.2. The Vikings could not stop the run. They couldn't really stop the pass either. Metcalf would have an 80-yard play in the game, which was definitely a killer for the Vikings. That was the only touchdown Rodgers would throw in the game, but it was definitely a dagger, to say the least. Wentz definitely came back down to earth a bit. Couple of interceptions, a couple of touchdowns thrown. He did throw for 350 yards, but you had a decent feeling. Okay, fine. It was an awful game. The Vikings did only lose by 3. So, okay, fine. And it's like, it's the backup quarterback. He's not the star quarterback. He's the backup. See, McCarthy just had a tough time versus the Falcons. He'll be okay. He was kind of hurt anyway. He's not injury prone or anything. He was just kind of hurt a little bit, and that defense was real good. At least they were kind of lucky that day. They just got lucky, the Falcons. Well, the Vikings would beat the Browns with Wentz. Kind of mediocre looking out there. And my favorite guy, Cam Akers, threw a touchdown pass in the game. One that was pretty exciting. In one of those trick plays, a 32-yard touchdown pass. Jordan Mason would have another touchdown in the game as well, but he also lost a fumble, which was annoying. But Jordan Addison would receive the pass from Cam Akers. That was fun. That was the highlight of the game, other than Justin Jefferson having one of his better games with 7 catches and 123 yards. But and also Reichert, I believe, hit a 60-yarder in this one, didn't he? I believe he did, my lord. Okay. Nope, he didn't make it. This was one where he missed. I apologize. Yeah, this was the Wiregate or whatever. He had a wire. You're not supposed to have wires anymore. Are we wireless now? Come on. But Wentz was a little better. It was all right. It was an okay game. It was like you beat a terrible team and you barely beat them, and it was kind of dumb. But the Vikings survived that, I guess. Vikings would then go on the bye. This is obviously into the month of October. Carson Wentz was hurt along the way in this one. Little did we know, and Jalen Hurts went from a guy who was throwing like 1 touchdown and 150 yards every week, looking like meh, to a perfect quarterback rating, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. Vikings defense came back down to earth in a big way and put the Hurts put the Hurts on the Vikings. The Eagles win 28-22. Wentz was clearly an inferior quarterback in this game, though he did throw 42 passes. He gave it everything he had, but he was also injured along the way. Dating actually back to the Cleveland game, supposedly, and you were seeing what was going on here, as Wentz clearly was struggling and suffering in this one, but it's like, no, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's okay. He's just sore. He's just sore. Just sleep it off. You'll be fine. This is like Final Fantasy, where like you're down to 1 hit point or something. You just sleep it off, and you wake up the next morning full hit points. You're ready to go. You're ready to go fight behemoths again. It'll be fine. Just pick up your sword. Let's go. Yeah, okay. Well, he threw the ball 42 times, Wentz. Two interceptions. Addison would have 128 yards in the game, which was great. But overall, yuck. This was an awful day for the Minnesota Vikings as we just continued to wait. And there was conversations all of a sudden about McCarthy needs to work on his mechanics. McCarthy needs to work on his mechanics. They didn't do any of that in the offseason? Like, he's that bad? His mechanics are that terrible? That's when there was like a moment of like, what the hell's going on? What? And then it would just kind of seem to keep, little subliminal messages would keep coming out during the course of the, it's just crazy. Little subliminal messages would keep coming out during the course of the season, and you wouldn't know what to think. Like, what's really going on here? Also, I guess there's a little breaking news as I'm talking. Well, it's been out for a little bit. TJ Hawkinson has agreed to restructure his contract. This can go into free agency too, but I want to talk about it now just for a minute, if possible. His Cap figure was set to be around 21.3. So it's been reduced by approximately $5 million to keep him on the roster for the coming season. Is that what's going on? So again, kind of kicking the can down the road. Otherwise, he was going to be released, but it looks like Hawkinson is going to come back. So that's nice. And he was saying basically he really wants to stay. So he does not want to leave. He really does want to stay. He's willing to restructure. A lot of people in the past, a lot of players in the past would be like, bleep you, I'm not restructuring anything. You can go ahead and release me. I'll just sign somewhere else. And but Hawkinson, different story here. It's believed he grew up as a Viking fan, coming from Iowa. I mean, there's a lot of people from Iowa that lives in the Purple Mafia. In fact, I would venture to say Iowa is my friend more than Minnesota is my friend when it comes to Purple Mafia. It really is. Because not everybody in Minnesota likes me. They're a little too damn sensitive. They can't take the fact that I'm not just, it's the ref's fault or whatever. And I know I'm not trying to trash everybody in Minnesota. There's realistic fans here too. But yeah, it is what it is. So apparently the lower his cap figure from 21.3, so by approximately $5 million. So something, you get the idea. So something along the likes of 16-ish. It's still kind of high, but when healthy and on his game, he's a hell of a player. And Hawkinson showed signs of it later on in the season. He was kind of coming out of that funk. So there was that. Excuse me. The Vikings would then head to Los Angeles, California. SoFi Stadium is, it's amazing to think. In a city like Los Angeles with the kind of money they have, but maybe there's just not enough space to build things anymore because there's just too much of everything. That's why, like the the Chargers, well, the Lakers and the Clippers shared Staples Center for about 20 years. 20 plus years. Isn't that crazy? And then SoFi is being shared by the Rams and the Chargers. It's just crazy to think. Like Los Angeles? Crazy. Yeah, we can't do that here, which is really weird. You can't have but I suppose if it's the same sport, it's easier to do. We don't have two teams of the same sport. But then again, even the Kings were sharing it. I don't even know how that was possible. The Kings, the Clippers, and the Lakers were all sharing. That would be hockey, of course. We're all sharing the same arena. Staples Center. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but it is what it is. So let's continue. City of LA here. Los Angeles Chargers. Carson Wentz would clearly be suffering throughout this game. Would be on the bench crying in pain. His shoulder was bleeped, and he would have season-ending surgery after this game. It was over. The Vikings would get just demolished 37-10, and boy, they would just drop. They continue to drop down. From a team that looked promising to this is a wasted year. But then again, was it? But at least we're going to get McCarthy back. Now we can get our hope back, and let's see if McCarthy can bring back some of that magic. It was just an off day. It was just a bad day. That Falcons defense is real good, Brosmer 3 of 4. Yeah, 3 of 4. That's lame, but it was 3 of 4. And then McCarthy comes back. We had to wait all the way till bleeping November, but McCarthy's back. And McCarthy drove that team down the field to open the game in Detroit. This is on the road against the defending division champions, the team that finished 16-1 last year, didn't they? Didn't they win 16 games? No, 15-2. Excuse me, they did not win 16. They were 15-2. Right? The Vikings were 14-3. 15-2 Lions, 15 wins. Just kicked everybody's butt until the Washington Commanders said, no, you're not as good as you think you are. Of course, the Commanders weren't as good as they thought they were either the next year. Were they? No. Imagine listening to that State of the Commanders. Imagine listening to that show this past season. About as disappointing as this one. Their quarterback couldn't stay healthy either, and what a disaster. McCarthy, looked clutch. Looked ready to rock and roll. That opening drive was exciting. Oh, my God. And then it's like, okay, now he doesn't look so great. What the hell? But then ultimately McCarthy would kind of come back in the fourth quarter. He'd have another great fourth quarter and finish with mediocre numbers. Be 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, just like the Bears week. 143 yards this time. He had 153 against the Bears. Quarterback rating was 95 against the Bears. This one was 82.6 because it was such an awful 2.5 quarters after that opening drive, basically. It was like, what the hell? It's like it's back to where we were. Like when he had some of those lousy, moments against the Bears and against the Falcons. But then, bam, the clutch gene picked up again, and number 9 was was there, and he was telling us about number 9 after the game, and like a dog in the street. He told you did that dog in the street thing that everybody thought that was going to catch on, and next thing you know, that thing disappeared off the face of the internet, and you'd only hear it basically on Score North Purple Daily. It's like you couldn't even find it. I was like, oh man, I want to use that because it's funny kind of and it's cool, and then it disappeared off the face of the earth because pretty sure Kevin O'Connell had a little something to do with that. Like, you're acting like an idiot, basically. Settle down, basically. So that's pretty much what happened. And that was kind of where there was a little friction behind the scenes with McCarthy. Like, yes, you're having some moments, but you're overreacting. Settle down, please. Please settle down. And, yeah, well, unfortunately, that reality kept setting in after this. Clutch moment against Detroit, extremely exciting. And then the Ravens had come in. Of course, their coach would get fired at the end of the year, much to our surprise, because they couldn't get the job done in the postseason. They couldn't make the postseason. McCarthy would struggle. He'd throw for 42 yards. The Vikings would be trailing most of the way. A couple of interceptions, 42 attempts, 248 yards, career high, but quarterback rating of 54.5. The completion percentage was below 50. 20 of 42. Jalen Naylor would have some a spectacular play along the way. A 62-yard catch and 152 yards with a touchdown along the way. But overall, yuck. Aaron Jones would have some moments, would get in the end zone. This would be his final season with the Vikings, of course, as he's on his way out. McCarthy would run for 48. We appreciated that. But at the end of the day, again, reality was starting to set in. Like, okay, he is kind of struggling, isn't he? I don't know. But he's not Christian Ponder bad yet, is he? Maybe. Some people started thinking that. And then the Bears game happened. Yep, okay, we all know how McCarthy would have some icky moments, but then he'd be clutch and we'd beat the Bears. Well, McCarthy couldn't seem to hit the broadside of a barn in this one. 16 of 62. A couple of interceptions. He would get the clutch gene late, but ultimately couldn't finish the job. And, of course, special teams let the Vikings down in this one, too. McCarthy almost won the game despite playing like dog shit. And apologize for using some language here, but he played like dog shit. He did. Now, I just said it again. 50%. What did he throw? 48% the week before, 50% in this one. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And you know what? Outside of maybe Thor on Purple Daily, I'm probably McCarthy's second biggest fan in this town. That's one of the reasons I'm frustrated, because it's like, okay, come on. You're better than this. Please be better. It's possible. You're making me look like an idiot for defending you all the time. That kind of thing. Because I'm telling you, there's a clutch gene in J.J. McCarthy. Like, if somehow, some way, this team got to the Super Bowl and McCarthy was the quarterback, I think the Vikings would win. As weird as that sounds, and you look at these stats against this Bears team was probably nowhere near making it to any stinking Super Bowl. Not even close. Like, 11-6, okay, they look promising. But then the Rams kind of, sort of, well, they beat them. Even though the Bears had home field and everything. The Rams still beat them in the cold, in the snow, the nasty snow. They still beat them. And more than likely, Seattle would have taken care of business against the Bears. Promising team, yes. But, I don't know. The funny part was, again, McCarthy still somehow almost led this team to victory despite playing like absolute crap. It's crazy to think he was at like a 30%-ish range. Quarterback rating is like in the 20s at a point in this game before that clutch drive late that put the Vikings in position to do something. Isn't that crazy? Didn't that just stick out at you like, what the hell? Sure does. I appreciated the clutchness and getting focused and the Vikings getting back in, and there's actually a real chance to win in this stupid game. But then you give up that long frickin' return, and then boom, it was like a chip shot field goal and the Bears beat us. Nothing you can do. Frickin' bull crap. For lack of more vulgar words there, thankfully. Thankfully I stopped myself in that one, but crazy to think. You know, do you realize if the Vikings won this game, they might have won the division? Isn't that weird? They might have won the division if they won this game. Isn't that weird? Yeah, we would have had the tiebreaker. We being the Vikings, we would have both been, us and the Bears would have both been 10-7. Vikings would have had the tiebreaker. That's a division title. Just one stupid kick return away. And the quarterback playing like poop most of the year. And of course, or being hurt most of the year. But those few clutch plays almost won a division for the Vikings. Isn't that weird? It's just the weirdest, craziest thing. But odds are, under pressure, the Vikings would have stunk anyway. McCarthy would have a worse game. 23-6 loss to the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. Oh, he'd have a worse game. And this is where everybody in town started doing the Christian Ponder comparisons. Like, it's over. It's done. All this hope we came into this season was a waste of time. And a lot of us were questioning the coach as well. Like, okay, you're this quarterback whisperer. Like, where is the whisper? Where's the magic, coach? Is McCarthy just this bad, or is the coach this stupid with the decisions? Because it came back to it's not 1,000% McCarthy's fault here. Like, McCarthy needs to be better, yes. But they're expecting McCarthy to do too much. You got to balance out the offense. And the Vikings weren't doing that. Particularly in this game. It just felt like they're trying to put too much on McCarthy. And, it's all about the quarterback here. Running game, that's just kind of a sideshow. Oh, yeah, we'll hand it off once in a while. Especially when it was actually kind of working for a bit at times in this game and against the Bears. McCarthy, 12 of 19. Hey, at least it was over 50%. 87 yards. That's 4 quarters of football. 87 yards. 2 interceptions, quarterback rating of 34.2. 87 yards. The defense wasn't all that great either, but they were better than the freaking offense. The offense was poo. The offense was garbage. And it was too much. Again, you're trying to do too much. Kind of like, again, the offensive coordinator that was fired years ago. Was it, I forgot his name. I forgot his name. It was an Italian name from the Eagles. He was our offensive coordinator the first year with Kirk Cousins, and Zimmer fired him because it was all just pass. Yes, passing a lot can be fun, but it's not balanced. That's where Zimmer was right, was you got to balance things out a little bit. Though Zimmer was maybe a little too old school and wanted to run the ball like probably almost twice as much as passing. So if you can get some kind of frickin' balance here, that would help. Unfortunately, there was no such thing as balance in this town with coaches until later in the year when the games didn't really matter anymore because we were already eliminated mathematically. And then somehow, some way, it turned out that one stupid kick return cost the Vikings a chance to not only make the playoffs but win the division. Isn't that the weirdest, darndest, stupidest thing you ever heard? Again, odds are things might not have turned out as positive as they ended up, but whatever. Will Riker would make a 59-yarder in this one, 1 yard below his career high. McCarthy would be hurt again, by the way. Oh, yeah, McCarthy would be hurt again. This time, what was it this time? I think he hurt his hand. Yeah, he hurt his hand. Yep, I guess. That's why he was struggling against the Packers. That's why things were so rough. He hurt his hand, so he's playing with an injured hand. That's all it was. So then we played the soon-to-be Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Man, that was a lot of S's, and that was kind of a tongue twister. Soon-to-be Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. It's kind of a tongue twister. Max Broserwood got out there. All right, everything's going to be fine. This is the ace in the hole, they've been talking big about this kid behind the scenes. There's something here. There's something there, and he's going to be a developmental quarterback. He might not be too spectacular, but someday, this kid, you never know. You never know. Maybe the sky's the limit with this one. Oh, yeah, sky's the limit, huh? Plucking harps in the clouds. That's what kind of sky he's going to be doing. He was plucking harps all right. Sacked 4 times. Looked like he didn't belong on the same planet as NFL quarterback. He really didn't. Some of the decisions in this one, he looked like Trent Dilfer with the Bucks when Trent Dilfer was at the worst of his career. That's what he looked like, Max Brosmer. High IQ? Yeah, very high. High on weed or hallucinogens. I'm not sure who he's throwing the ball to in this one. Pick 6. Oh, yeah. That was just 1 of 4 interceptions. 32.8 quarterback rating. Wasted season. It's over, man. And this was the elimination for the Vikings right here. Absolutely. An absolute shutout. And this was the moment when I also was like, okay, not only does this offense suck really bad, this coaching staff sucks really bad, or at least on the offensive side. It's terrible. Kevin O'Connell, balance out the offense if you have any sense in you. But now it's too late anyway. I guess you just got to kind of balance it out anyway, maybe to make the record look a little prettier and see what happens. But next year, hopefully. But I don't know what to tell you. But not only that, the Seattle team has a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the first time. I thought Seattle was dangerous a little bit. but they didn't scare me that much. I thought they're one of those teams. They're going to have a good record, and they'll probably be out in maybe the division round or something. Maybe Sam Darnold will lead his team to a playoff victory and then get beat in the second round by the Rams or the 49ers or something, or the Eagles, whoever, right? One of those teams. Oh, no, this team's probably going to the Super Bowl after this game. I was like, yeah, it's a combination of how awful the Vikings were and just how much better the Seahawks team was. Like light years apart. Light years. A team that doesn't barely deserve to be on the field. Might as well have been playing the Gophers. PJ Fleck might as well have been the coach saying, Skyuma, row the boat, Skull Vikings. Might as well have been saying that. 14-3 Seahawks. Well, who cares about the record? It's what they did in the postseason. Mike McDonald, just like Michael McDonald. You don't know me, but I'm your brother. Yep, I don't know you, but you're my brother, I guess. They took it to the field, taking it to the Vikes. Yeah, they took it to the Vikes, all right. And everyone else, they took it to the Pats, too. I didn't hate the Seahawks team. I kind of hated them in this game, though. Oh, yeah, because I felt like they're rubbing it in our face. It also felt like this team is rubbing it in our face, too. T.J. Hawkinson found a way to get 59 yards in the game and 3 first downs. A couple of positive moments. Eric Wilson was spectacular. 8 tackles, a solo, 11 total, and a sack. Eric Wilson was wonderful throughout the year. And I'm barely even talking about him in these games. And I apologize, I'm kind of sticking to offense so much here. So there's that. McCarthy would come back, I think, or was this a different setup? Yeah, but Brosmer, man, getting out there and playing, that was pretty ugly stuff. What's going on? What's going on? Yes, McCarthy would come back and he'd have the best statistics of his young career so far. Looked absolutely great versus the Commanders, and it's like, okay, because the Vikings balanced out the offense. Instead of running the ball, I don't know, like 16 times a game, Aaron Jones alone had 14 rushes, Jordan Mason had 11. You saw a balanced offense, and it was working at all factors. McCarthy completed 16 of 23, 3 touchdowns. And it's just, dumbing down the offense just a little bit. Not just dumbing it down, but balancing it just enough. All of a sudden, the quarterback's throwing with some confidence again. Funny. So, in a lot of ways, as disappointing and frustrating as McCarthy was, I think the coaches are more disappointing than McCarthy this season. I don't think there's any doubt, because reality set in. The stubbornness. Like, okay, it's ugly football, but it worked. Ugly football. Balancing the offense is ugly football. I think forcing plays is ugly. I think it's real ugly. Real ugly. Ugly, mother hucker. I think it's really ugly. Pardon my French. I'm talking like an idiot. The Vikings ran the ball 34 times in the game. 23 passes, 34 rushes. And they obliterate the Commanders. 31-0. Vikings defense had some fun to go along with the Vikings offense. Had some fun. Blake Cashman with 10 tackles. Eric Wilson with 6. Another sack for him. Redmond would get a sack, but unfortunately he ain't going to be around too long. Disappointing generally for him. Hargrave and Redmond were pretty disappointing signings at the end of the day. But, you balance out the offense. Now that we're eliminated from the playoffs and everything, play with a little confidence and you feel a little better. It's a sign. It's a sign for things to come. Vikings will then beat the Cowboys as well at in one of those late night games. McCarthy would shine very brightly. And it was funny, though, too, how McCarthy had that great game versus Washington. Well, great 3 touchdowns and everything. How you go from like a dog in the street versus the Detroit Lions to all of a sudden the game ball, J.J. McCarthy. Hug, pat, and that was about it. None of this dog in the street. None of this. No. So, very reserved. It was a combination of things. McCarthy calming down, the coach balancing things out, and funny, everything looks better. The Vikings look like a far superior football team than they were earlier. And McCarthy looks like a far superior quarterback. Quarterback rating of almost 130. Against the Cowboys, he'd have an interception, but a quarterback rating of 108, and the Vikings would have an exciting victory. In Dallas, Texas, a place the Vikings never win, basically. 34-26, the Vikings would win in Dallas, Texas. Cowboys definitely reeling, definitely disappointing, very high-priced, an owner that's frustrated. Thinks he still should be a GM of a football team, which is dumb as hell. I don't know why he's the GM of his own team. That's kind of dumb. Hawkinson, moments like this, or maybe gave the Vikings hope that he could be a decent tight end again. 66 yards in this one with 4 catches. Hawkinson did show some promising signs as the year progressed. Will Reichert continued to make his kicks. And guys like Eric Wilson and Blake Cashman would continue to make tackles and such. There was only a half a sack by Van Ginkel in this one, but encouraging signs. You're seeing balance. You're finally seeing something in the balance department. McCarthy would... Okay, I'm getting mixed up. This was not... The hand injury was not with the Bears. That was a concussion. That was the Packers. That was a concussion. I'm getting mixed up. I apologize for saying the hand. The hand was much later. So you'd go from the meniscus the whole season last year in 2024, the ankle, and then he missed way more time than you'd think he should because they're working on mechanics or something. And, yeah, okay, whatever. And then and then you have the ugly, awful games, and it's concussion versus the Packers. And now McCarthy would have the hand injury during the course of this Giants game. The Vikings would survive a 16-13 win against one of the worst teams in football by far. Terrible team. Brosmer would be adequate, 7 of 9 for 52 yards, would at least kind of hang in there, so to speak, and the Vikings would survive. An ugly, ugly game. McCarthy definitely not as good in this one. He was okay, though, but then he hurt his hand. Unfortunately, Moorhead's catching up to Minnetonka. That's on live right now. The state championship game. They're like, okay, it was 4-1, now it's 4-3. Moorhead is the defending state champ, by the way. But Minnetonka, number 1 all season. Again, I'm not much of a high school person, but, oh well, it's a championship freaking game, whatever. Vikings would host the Detroit Lions, who would go from a team that was insane last year to extremely disappointing. Brosmer would throw for 51 yards. 51 yards. And the Vikings would win 23-10. Because the Vikings defense was spectacular, and the Vikings running game was pretty good, for the most part. Addison would actually run the ball on a trick play and run 65 yards to pay dirt. Jefferson would have 4 catches for 30 yards. Again, some frustrating moments for him in this game. The quarterback play in this whole season almost kept Jefferson to under 1,000 yards in a season where he was healthy. It's just crazy to think. It's like, okay, a guy misses half the year, he might not make 1,000 yards, despite how spectacular he is. But, man, crazy. Vikings defense would definitely get the job done in this one. Blake Cashman with 17 tackles and a sack. Van Ginkel with a sack and a half. Turner would get a half a sack, and Turner would show some promising signs. But more of a pass rushing specialist, but at least, again, seeing some promising signs. You're seeing him getting some snaps finally, and that was exciting. Goff would definitely struggle in this one. A couple of interceptions and would get sacked multiple times by Jackson. Harrison Smith would get in there as well. That'd be Theo Jackson. But Cashman a sack with 17 total tackles. Absolutely sick stuff. A number of them were assisted, but still, 17 is 17. Eric Wilson with four total tackles in the game. Just fun performance. Again, 51 yards. Ugly, but fun at the same time. The Vikings would then host the Packers at the end of the year. McCarthy would come back. Yay! And you'd be going against Toon, who would throw for 34 yards in the game. Packers, it was pretty much like a handoff merchant in this one. McCarthy would try to come back, like my hand, I'm going to play through this. What's the point? It's the final game of the season. That was kind of the dumbest thing ever. McCarthy would have some moments, and then his hand would kind of get sore again. He'd be like, yeah, I got to get out of here. 7 of 8 completions by Brosmer. So at least he completed his passes, 57 yards. Mason would run the ball 14 times for 94 yards, which is exciting. Ty Chandler, it's like last gasp for his career here, at least with the Vikings. 10 rushes and 23 yards. That's nothing to write home about. Jefferson would get over 101 yards and reach the 1,000-yard mark by the skin of his teeth. Whew, feel bad for him. What a wasted year, no doubt. 2 sacks by Dallas Turner, getting some people excited. Cashman would have 7 tackles. Eric Wilson would have 9. So you'd have your positive moments and such. But, man, they're just kind of hanging in there. McCarthy, again, too many injuries throughout the course of the season, so kind of left you in doubt. The Vikings would finish 9-8 with a winning record, despite like an awful overall vibe after the Bears game at the beginning of the year. And, signs that the coach wasn't he's not as good a coach as people thought. Like, you got to balance your attack. You can't just You can't just like try to force it all on the quarterback and try to make big plays and chunk plays and such. You got to balance things out and simplify things. Otherwise, you're going to fail. Especially with a rookie who was, 22 years old. Like, for heaven's sake. Obviously, the guy is immature. So it is what it is. Even though he looked and appeared mature, he's not. But the hope is that McCarthy will mature some. But what's going to happen as we go forward? It's a big-time question. Who's going to be the quarterback of the Vikings next year? Is it going to be McCarthy? Is it going to be Kyler Murray? Oof, we got something to say there in segment number 2. Kyler Murray, Geno Smith. I've got a plan. I've got a bit of a plan. I've got a plan, yes. I'm not going to spoil too much. You probably, I don't know, you can guess somewhat where I'm going. Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, maybe even Mac Jones, which might cost too much, or Mr. Daniel Jones, trying to get him back from an Achilles, though, so watch out for that. Just like you don't want to be the Atlanta Falcons signing a guy to a huge contract coming back from an Achilles. So, I don't know. Oh, they almost tied it up. That looked like a possible penalty, though. But it wasn't. Anyhow, them being Moorhead. Yeah. Oh, it is a delayed penalty. Ooh. It is. So, anyhow, sorry for the distractions. Let's get to the awards here. Let's get to the awards, demerits type of thing. So, the Purple Mafia 2025 Minnesota Vikings Most Valuable Player. Okay, well, I feel like a jerk here. I have to do it last. I'm a total jerk. What am I doing? Come on, Joey. Come on. That would have been stupid. I would have just named the player without even telling you the candidates. What kind of a dummy am I? So on Twitter, at purplemafiashow, I'm saying it's time for State of the Vikings 2026 as we put an official bow on the 2025 season. Who is your season MVP? If other, please comment. Otherwise, feel free to comment away. Anyhow, your 4 candidates are, for most valuable player, that is, Will Reichert, kicker, great season, 60-yard field goal, and hardly missed it all this year except for some stupid wire getting in the way. Eric Wilson, incredible season overall. Tackles, sacks, did an amazing job. Blake Cashman gets more tackles than anybody, wonderful. But sometimes he's hurt too much. That's where maybe you might or may not vote for him. Andrew Van Ginkel can be absolutely spectacular as well. But, of course, injuries with him possibly as well may hurt his chances. Well, on Twitter, the winner is Will Reichert. Okay, 66.7%. My personal choice is Eric Wilson. So, from Paladino Joey here on Purple Mafia, Eric Wilson is your 2025 Minnesota Vikings Most Valuable Player. Let's see if there's a response here. It looks like there's a bunch, all kind of Dave Hickey's with all of them. I'm going to say his MVP first, and I'll come back. I'll backtrack for the others. So Dave Hickey, coming in out of Iowa, says MVP for the season has to go to Big Leg Bill. So that's Will Reichert. So on the fan side, it is going to be Will Reichert. But for me personally, I'm going for Eric Wilson. He bailed us out of a lot of games. I would give an honorable mention to Jalen Redmond, Ryan Wright, and Miles Price. Yeah, those guys were pretty good. Well, especially Wright and Price. Even though he probably lost a game for us. Yes, though, yeah, that stupid fumble. Yep. But he had some great returns also. Skull Joey. Yep, and we'll come back to the other comments very shortly because I don't want to jump ahead. Oh, yeah, other horrible news here. We'll get to it right now. I'll probably mention it again on segment number 3. Rondell Moore, remember him? Nice acquisition. Well, we were all excited to bring him in the offseason. Like, yeah, he's been oft injured, but he has a chance to be, a viable piece. At least maybe a number 3 or 4 receiver. It could be a nice piece. And then he tears his ACL like right away in the preseason. And it's just, you've got to be kidding me. It was so sad. And he looked just devastated because it's like he's finally healthy after having so many injuries and such. It's like, damn it, anyway, he's got so much talent, but he can't freaking stay healthy. ACL like right away in the preseason. And it's just, the whole planet felt bad for him. And then, well, February 22nd, Rondell Moore is believed to have committed suicide. Yeah, terrible. One of the saddest things you ever heard. Terrible. Terrible. So, that was, And it's like when you saw the sadness and depression on him with that injury, and it's just like, and then you find out this, just kills you. It hurts. I mean, Rondell, man, that is just the saddest thing ever. You wish so much that he was able to get some kind of help and some encouragement along the way. The fact that it came to this, and it brings back a horrible memory earlier during the year where, similarly at work, we had no idea this guy was suffering the level of depression he was, and he took his life too. One of the nicest guys in the world, Kyle. Nicest guys on the planet. And it's like, where's Kyle? How come he's not coming to work? Where's Kyle? It's not like him to miss 2-3 days. No call, no show. That's not Kyle. He's dead. He died. So stuff like that just totally sucks. It's the worst thing ever. And all you can just, give out your condolences to the families on both sides. Kyle, obviously, and Rondell Moore. Awful news. Just deflating. It's just, you just get to you just come to a loss of words when you hear this kind of thing. So there's only so much you can say, other than let's give Rondell Moore a moment of silence. Rondell Moore, God bless you. God bless your family. So I don't know how we transition back to State of the Vikings here. I apologize. I'm sorry. Whew. Yeah, that was painful. State of the Vikings 26. Who's your official biggest disappointment? The 4 candidates are, of course, J.J. McCarthy, Ryan Kelly, Byron Murphy Jr., who went from a guy who, earned a nice contract and everything to being terrible. Like, what the heck happened to him, except for a couple of good moments later in the year? And T.J. Hawkinson, who just seemed like he wasn't regaining any of his form. J.J. McCarthy took 100% of the votes, unanimous. It's not like there were a ton of votes, but it was unanimous. Ryan Kelly didn't even get one, so that was a little surprising. Unanimous vote for J.J. McCarthy. That tells you how the fans feel about how this season turned out. So, otherwise, we'll save some of that. I'm going to come back in a bit. I don't want to let all the cats out of the bag here. Back to the biggest surprise. The 4 candidates, Eric Wilson, Jalen Naylor, Levi Drake Rodriguez, and Isaiah Rodgers. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to go back to the biggest disappointment. It's Ryan Kelly. I mean, he was completely worthless. Completely worthless. Like, even when he did play, he was awful. McCarthy helped us win a couple of games, as crazy and stupid as that might sound to some of you. For me, it's Ryan Kelly. So I'm actually going to disagree with the unanimous audience here. Crazy to think, right? Was McCarthy disappointing? Of course, but I think Ryan Kelly was extremely disappointing. Extremely. And I know partially you come in thinking, well, the GM should know better. The guy's already got issues, but my God, he was completely worthless. I mean, I'm sorry, he was. Completely worthless. So that was my choice, Ryan Kelly. This one, well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, here. The 4 candidates, here comes the train. This is the Vikings next year. They're going to come through like a train. Oh my God, Moorhead just tied up the game. You know what this train is? Moorhead tying up this hockey game with 35 seconds remaining. Holy crap. They just came down from 4-1. 30 seconds left. Watch them win it all in minute. I can't even imagine Minnetonka fans if they lose. Oh my God. Anybody who loses the game is going to be devastated though. But that's Moorhead coming through, but hopefully it's McCarthy and the Vikings coming through next year to surprise us all. Yes, there's a train track right outside the apartment here in Golden Valley. Yes. Yes, there is. Anyhow, the candidates for the biggest surprise for 2025. Eric Wilson, linebacker, of course. Jalen Naylor, wide receiver. Levi Drake Rodriguez, that nice, surprising defensive tackle. Nice player. Nice 7th-round pick by Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Probably for the value, it's the best pick he's probably ever made, like value-wise. 7th round. Otherwise, okay. Didn't he take Reichert? So, yes, that's a good draft pick. And bringing back Eric Wilson, yeah, of course. Isaiah Rodgers was a fun acquisition, but, it was kind of like a sugar high in a lot of ways. So, Eric Wilson and Levi Drake Rodriguez tie for this one, according to the fans. I can break the tie and pick Levi Drake Rodriguez. Eric Wilson, we knew he could play. Now, he had a better year this year than he did before. But Levi Drake Rodriguez, for a 7th-round pick to be as good as he is, now he didn't get picked just last year, but still, a guy emerging from being a 7th-round pick to being as valuable as Levi Drake Rodriguez was, it's kind of fun, So that was fun and encouraging. So I'll break the tie with that one. In a moment, we'll get to Dave Hickey with the future comments here. I apologize for kind of delaying that. Got distracted with this crazy hockey game. I can't believe it. Yeah, I mean, either team that loses this game, you just feel horrible. Just like Hibbing losing in overtime earlier in the Class A. If you happen to be a Minnesotan or whatever, you keep up with this kind of thing. I kind of don't. But once it's the tournament, it's just a couple games, and it's kind of cool. I feel bad for them losing. Was it War Road? Who's the national champion or state champion on the Class A level? National champion. Yeah, national champion. So let's look at the stats too, really quick. I'm gonna look at if I ever get there, because really more of the fun stats are on the defensive side. Levi Drake Rodriguez, he only had 2 sacks, but he caused a lot of hurries. 43 total tackles. He was wonderful. Cashman led the club with 144 tackles, 2 sacks overall. 6.5 sacks by Eric Wilson. Dallas Turner actually led the club with 8, but he was more of a specialist, so to speak, kind of like KGB years ago with, if I think that was his name, with the Green Bay Packers years ago, where he'd rack up like 12 sacks, but he was just a specialist. Enter Van Ginkel, only playing 12 games and went up with 7. Yeah, so valuable guy. That's why I was saying he's kind of an MVP candidate too. But let's get to Dave Hickey now. Let's go back. And then, of course, we'll do the rest of the fan interaction and other stuff later in segment number 3. We'll wrap up this first segment. It's a big one. Usually the first segment's the biggest because it's the bow on the season. It's a lot of review and such of the year. Also, I made a mistake. There was an Adam Farrell, NFL or something, a former Vikings GM, Kwesi Novomensa, is filing a class action lawsuit against the Vikings. And I was like, interesting. And I was quickly rebuffed by Tom Hand, who generally comments on Brave the Wild stuff. That's the hockey show I do. And he's like, this is just a satire. I'm like, oh, oops. So I felt pretty dumb there. I apologize. Yeah, parody account, yeah, where they're just making fun of you. Yep. Dave Hickey did respond, though, saying, yeah, just one way or another. No experience in scouting and did a terrible job drafting for 3 years. I'm surprised he wasn't fired sooner, even though they sent him to the Senior Bowl. Yeah, that's the weird part. They sent him to the Senior Bowl. That's extremely weird. So, yes, the comments, if I ever get back there. Yes, there's a few more to go here, and I'm hitting the wrong button. Come on! Sorry. Biggest surprise, Eric Wilson as a free agent that we drafted, then cut, then brought back. Jalen Redmond, a backup that far outplayed another expensive free agent. Yeah, Redmond was better than the other guy. Yes, Hargrave, expensive free agent, and all the receivers with all their drops, especially Thielen. Normally a great receiver was a huge mistake. Yeah, that was bad. Most disappointing Where's the most disappointing? Okay, I'm looking at it wrong. Okay, here we go. Most disappointing continued an offensive coaching staff that refused to adjust to a quarterback that was clearly not ready to take over or help him with more running or extra blockers. Yeah, see, there's just stupid. More simple reads, dump off to running back, none until we were out of the playoffs. Then he adjusted slightly. Yeah, it's stupid. Most disappointing continuation, a GM that repeatedly had terrible drafts, and they sent him to the Senior Bowl, then fire him. Stupid ass backwards, you might say. No plan to replace him until the most important part of the year for a GM is over. So, yep, this is dumb, yeah. Excuse me. Up. It's crazy. Yep, so we'll continue. He says, I guess I'll comment since my call-ins don't seem to work. I think there was a call-in. Hopefully. Okay. I better check, yeah. Doggone it, yeah, because I remember you were telling me a while back. Yep. I'll check again, though. I feel stupid if I missed it. Oh, so Dave, where you may have sent me an instant message, that account was hacked at the time. So, I mean, it's been a bit since you sent this comment. So there is that possibility that one was hacked. So I promise I'm not ignoring you, by the way. So I promise. Dave Hickey was saying, I guess I'll comment since my comments don't seem to work. Most disappointing, J.J. McCarthy. At first glance, he was missing wide open receivers, getting sacked repeatedly, and looking out of sync the rest of the offense, consistently getting injured. Just a glance of hope for him. Yep. Okay, I get it. That was disappointing with the coaching staff and the stupid GMing. Yes. So, no, great thoughts, Dave. You're definitely a gold star guy here. Not a candidate, but the winner. You're the gold star winner for sure for this episode by a mile. So, and he's already a Purple Mafia Hall of Famer. His induction was years ago, and with all the Facebook blowing up and people kind of disappearing and such, I mean, the Purple Mafia Hall of Fame kind of is what it is. You guys are all in there. all the guys that are going to get there are there already. Dave Hickey is definitely one. Dave Hickey got in big time, pretty early, if I remember correctly. So, an amazing guy coming in and out of Iowa. And I will check for that for the fan interaction segment. There is one from Gerald for sure, and I'll make sure I'll verify with Dave as well to find that. So I apologize, Dave, for this stupidity. So I apologize. I feel like a jerk with that kind of stuff. It's not my thing to be forgetting and losing stuff or ignoring anybody. So for real. So with that said, that's the season wrap up. Very long, maybe too long, and I hope it wasn't too long. But Dave Hickey made it better. So thank you very much, Dave, at the end there. Really appreciate you, and hoping all of you. Hoping the Vikings can right the ship a bit here in the offseason, and we'll see what kind of we'll see what happens with the quarterback position. We'll discuss my thoughts on what the Vikings might do, or on what they might do, and what I hope they won't do, that type of thing. Coming up at segment number 2 after this. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, second segment. Going to look at free agency and the draft, basically kind of the future. We talked about the past, now the future / present type of thing, and then fan interaction in segment number 3. So, State of the Vikings 2026 continues. By the way, minor update in case you care, and you probably already know at the time I'm saying this. Yes, Moorhead won the state championship for Class AA. So they scored in overtime, second overtime. They beat Minnetonka, and you always feel heartbroken for the players that lose. It's not fun to see. So, anyhow, yes, the quarterback position is a hot topic in Minnesota, if you hadn't noticed. The Purple Daily, they talk about it pretty much every day. KFAN, Paul Allen, all them, and Barrero. We talk about it pretty much every day, one way or another. There's conversation of the two guys that are huge possibilities to come to Minnesota, especially recently now. Well, both of them are officially going to be cut. Those guys would be Kyler Murray and Mr. Geno Smith. Now, both of them will be cut. Geno Smith, it wasn't official, but then all of a sudden now it is. He is going to get cut when the league new year starts, the new league year starts and all that. Between Geno Smith and Kyler Murray, well, see, here's the thing. Kyler Murray is not 30 years old yet. He's 28. And, well, he's had some moments. He's been promising. There's definitely a talent there. He's a shorter guy, which I don't always like necessarily. But there's definitely some talent there. He was the number 1 overall pick for the Arizona Cardinals previously. For a while there, he was there. He was always available. He did get sacked the most amount of times as a rookie, but I suppose that's kind of a thing. I mean, J.J. McCarthy got sacked a hell of a amount of times. But Kyler Murray, what's his career high in touchdowns thrown? 26. That's not that spectacular, is it? He's never thrown for 4,000 yards in a season. It's like there have been leadership issues. He's more interested in Call of Duty, this and that. He would cost a lot of money. But then again, at this stage, apparently, he's still getting the money he was going to get from Arizona, so the Vikings could potentially sign him to a one-year minimum contract if they want to, and Kyler Murray would still get millions and millions and millions of dollars coming from Arizona. So that's the good news with Kyler Murray. Again, though, 28 going on 29, you're more than likely looking at more of a Kirk Cousins-ish type of situation. At least no Achilles. At least he's not recovering from an Achilles. But this would be like the original Kirk Cousins when he first came here in 2018, where you'd be looking at potentially more of a commitment here. But then again, the good news is, yes, he's still getting paid by Arizona, but potentially you could be roped into a commitment with Kyler Murray. That type of thing, especially if he has shows some promise during the course of the season. And then kyckly you'd be pretty much moving on from J.J. McCarthy. I got to tell you this. Between J.J. McCarthy, between Kyler Murray and Geno Smith as possibilities coming in, well, Geno Smith is 35 years of age. He's had some positives, some negatives, this and that, and similarly, he'll be getting paid from his former team, the Las Vegas Raiders at this stage. Obviously, he started with the Jets and played on other teams along the way, including surprisingly, the Chargers. That's what I thought. He played on the LA Chargers for a little bit. Kind of started off promising and then became a backup and then became a starter again with Seattle. Had some promising moments, but at 35 going on 36, I'm leaning more towards Geno Smith because I would rather believe that J.J. McCarthy still has a possibility in this league. I'm not committing to Kyler Murray. I'm not ready to commit to Kyler Murray because you know what? Nobody's going to win any Super Bowl with Kyler Murray at quarterback. I'm saying it right here in Purple Mafia. I don't think it's that bold. I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying nobody's going to win a Super Bowl with Kyler Murray as their main guy, as their long-term solution at quarterback. I don't think Kyler Murray is a long-term solution at all for anybody. Yeah, you never know. Maybe he could service with the Miami Dolphin type of team. We have all these players and this and that. What if we actually have a stable quarterback? Okay, which Miami does not have. Tua's the other possibility as well. He's another name that's been brought up as well. Obviously, he's a free agent. And why not come to Minnesota? No, I don't want Tua. I want no part of Tua anyway. I don't give a damn. I don't care if it is a minimum level contract. I don't give a damn. I don't want Tua. I don't like his attitude. And okay, well, wow, we won 11 games. We're 11-6, and now we're going on the road into Philadelphia. Yeah, and we lost 34-3. That's basically what would happen if Tua's your quarterback. Yeah, we're going on the road in cold, freezing, drizzle Philadelphia or snowy Philadelphia. We lost 34-3. Yeah, hey, but at least we made the playoffs, though. BS. B as in B, S as in S. You know what also happened with Kyler Murray? About the same thing. I have no faith in Kyler Murray to lead this team to any Super Bowl. But we might win in the first round, though. I think the goal is the Super Bowl here. I'm sick and tired of this. We made the playoffs. Wahoo, wahoo. I'm going with Geno Smith if I have a choice. Gun to my head, and it's like anywhere from a 1 to 3 year contract with Geno Smith. Because here's the thing. Geno Smith would be the perfect bridge quarterback to J.J. McCarthy, if you do believe J.J. McCarthy still has hope. Or if you really, really would like to draft a quarterback in 26 or 27. There's even a possibility the Vikings draft a quarterback in 26. I wouldn't get my hopes too high on this draft, but next year's draft seems to be a lot prettier. But, of course, every time we talk about pretty drafts, it ends up being Jake Locker. It ends up being, Christian Ponder, Blaine Gabbert, pardon me. What was the other guy? Blake Bortles. That's where the Blake came from. Boy, oh boy, what a great quarterback class. And they did a whole lot of nothing, most of them, except the guy at the very, very top. Or a team like Kansas City that took Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I know. We all know Patrick Mahomes. He's just the greatest thing ever. We know. I get it. But anyhow, generally speaking, I'm not committing to Kyler Murray. That's Kirk Cousins all over again, basically. Kyler Murray, come on. That's basically what you're doing. Even if you don't give him a huge contract right away, you still might get roped into giving him a huge contract after the season if he looks promising. I don't know. It's a waste of time, I think. And you're pretty much done with J.J. McCarthy in that stage. I'm not ready to walk away from J.J. McCarthy like he's complete garbage. I'm not ready to do that. He showed signs that at bare minimum, he has an incredible clutch gene that is worth more than something. So the clutch gene is something that you can't teach. It's in you. You either have it or you don't. Kirk Cousins is not clutch. Kyler Murray, I don't think he's clutch. Kirk Cousins can be clutch, in regular season games. So, excuse me, I didn't mean to say that. And I guess he did have one or two really nice plays against the Saints in 2019. It's funny, all that went out the window very quickly the next week in San Francisco. You don't win the Super Bowl by losing in the second round. I'm sorry. That's light years away from where you want to be. So you got to continue to be clutch in those big moments. And I think McCarthy potentially could be that guy if you're patient with him. You bring him in a Geno Smith, there's a possibility you might be able to be patient enough and then have a competent quarterback, an older guy who not only could help your team today, at least be, keeping their heads above water for the moment, but also can probably be a patient veteran stabling force in the locker room and such that can help J.J. McCarthy grow. Especially if you imagine this veteran quarterback is J.J. McCarthy's backup when he becomes 36, 37 years of age. So I'm going with Geno. If I'm the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings and all three quarterbacks were like, please sign me. I'm ready to sign on the dotted line. Just hand me the pen. Kyler's got his hand out waiting for the pen. Who was the other guy? Tua got his hand out waiting for the pen, and Geno over here. I'm going with Geno. Geno, is this nice looking pen here? Hear that sound? Hear that wonderful little clicky clicky? Geno, there you go. Let's make sure there's ink here. Let's see. Yeah, there's an yep. It's functional. Here you go, Geno. That's where I go. Whether it's a vet minimum or $10 million or whatever the hell, I'm going to Geno Smith as the veteran leader quarterback, basically, to come in as a potential starter for a year or half a year or 3 weeks or whatever the heck it is. And that's where I'm going with Geno Smith. I think I made my point there. Tua, I want no part of. The only way I am ready to walk away from McCarthy is if it's a guy that for sure is, an established star type of player that just might take you to somewhere beyond anything the Vikings have ever done. The Vikings have been to the Super Bowl 4 times. Now, it's 50 years ago, but they have been to the Super Bowl 4 times and lost them all. They lost them all. What's the one thing the Vikings have never done? Win the Super Bowl. We made 100,000 playoff games. We've won a billion regular season games. Okay, million. Billion's a little too big. But we have no hardware. We have no rings. We have no hardware other than, I guess, if you get a trophy for winning the NFC, which I think they still had them back in those days, but it's so long ago you don't really hear about it. And supposedly that 1969 trophy, how it was the last ever NFL championship trophy, that it was cursed. There's a curse on it. Oh, well, then throw it into the Mississippi River then, if that's the case. Or whatever you do. Drop it off the IDS then. Whatever. But, yes, I've said 15 times Geno Smith, yes. His career high in touchdowns was 30. What do you think of that? Interceptions that year? 11. Flat-out Pro Bowler at age 32 for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not expecting Geno Smith to throw 30 touchdown passes for the Vikings next year. But, at minimum, he'd be a nice bridge guy to lead to J.J. McCarthy. Do they hate him? I don't know. There's all kinds of mixed messages coming in out of this organization with J.J. McCarthy. In the past, it sounded like he was Kevin O'Connell's guy in that draft, and that was Kevin O'Connell that pushed for J.J. McCarthy, and especially, you traded up to get him. I know it's just one spot, but clearly you'd made a decision. That's the guy we're taking. And then it wasn't necessarily Kwesi. Oh, you can't, Kwesi just did all this. Oh, he's a moron. He sucks at everything. You can't just use one person to be the fall guy for everything. That's weak. That's pathetic. Just imagine trying to get away with that in the workplace. Yeah, you're not going to last long there either, much less as a head coach or a general manager of an organization. So, I would say the head coach was much more the guy pushing for J.J. McCarthy, and for you to kind of throw him to the side because he might not fit everything you want for the system, less than 10 games into his career, then I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I think you need to make the adjustments more than the quarterback does. At the end of the day, good coaches adjust to their players. And guess what? It was actually working. Yes, the pressure was off in those games, but it was working. Things looked better. Even times when the pressure is off, you can still get your ass handed to you from a team that probably is better, like a Detroit or a Dallas or whatever, or even not the Packers at the end. Sorry, that was a guy named Toon. I don't think he was really in tune with leading the Packers to victory. Pardon the silly pun there. Yep. I mean, for me, it's Geno Smith if you're going to the quarterback position. We'll see what the Vikings do. We may, within a week, have an update on that. So, looking forward to it. If it's Kyler Murray, well, I mean, I'm going to hope for the best. It might be just a 1-year contract, and then you move on just like a Sam Darnold type of thing. it could end up being that. And quite honestly, I think Kyler Murray should be in the same boat that Sam Darnold was in when he came to Minnesota in 2024. So Kyler Murray should be in that same boat where it is just a one-year deal. So he has not earned the right to get a Kirk Cousins contract, and frankly, Kirk Cousins didn't really earn that right either, but he got it. So regardless if you like it or not. And he got it again with Atlanta. Ha 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 ha, he got you and he'll get you again. Yes, he did. Yes, Geno Smith, that's, the whole time when I was thinking, oh God, Geno Smith, ugh. But no, then you put two and two together, it's just probably, you don't have to commit to him as your starting quarterback. There's no gun to your head. Like, that's your starter, and if you don't like it, too bad. We're going to pull the trigger on your head, No, it's not quite like that. When a guy is in his mid to upper 30s potentially, we'll say mid 30s for now, he turns 36 on October 10th. So that's week 5 or so in the NFL, or week 4, right around there. 36 is getting up there. So I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to ink Eugene Cyril Smith III. I think Eugene. Yes, I said it. Eugene Cyril Smith III. To some huge contract and guarantee him to be a starter. So that's where I feel confident going with Geno Smith if you're going to bring in a veteran. And who knows? It might be somebody completely different that we're not even talking about. Other potential free agents to bring in, free agency is kind of tough. What could the Vikings be doing? Like, clearly they're up to something because they've been getting rid of players. Obviously, so Aaron Jones is on his way out. It is what it is. Aaron Jones is on his way out. We talked about that. Jordan Mason is sticking around, of course, and I would hope so. That would be kind of dumb if they didn't. The other possible signing for Minnesota, I think, is Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not interested. So I'm good there. Let's go with the whole, thing with the Vikings here. Eric Wilson's an unrestricted free agent. I would definitely bring him back. Gosh, he made, 2.6 last year. And I just named him the MVP of the year, so it's pretty crazy. Eric Wilson's an unrestricted free agent. I bring him back. I would like to, if humanly possible. I think Ty Chandler has no chance. Ivan Pace is a restricted free agent, but I wouldn't bet the house on him coming back. Brett Ripien is he a Viking? I guess. Yeah, John Wolford. Yeah, that's out there. Fabian Morrow, maybe for depth. Carson Wentz. Ryan Wright, they got to bring him back. I think he had a wonderful season. Just in school did pretty much nothing for me. Man, he made $2 million? Yeah, he did nothing for me. Jeff Okudah, huge bust. Didn't make that much money or anything, but he was a big bust. So of all the free agents the Vikings have, Eric Wilson and Ryan Wright for sure. Bring them back. Ender DePaula, the long snapper. We love him. He's getting old, though. Gosh, he's almost 39. Crazy. Ender DePaula. And, Jalen Naylor. That's another one. Like they're considering his market value about 1.4. No. Looking at the wrong guy. That's Chandler. I'm good. Chandler, I'm good. Jalen Naylor, he's going to go from $960 to almost $5 million a year. So, I've seen worse things. Carson Wentz, I'd consider bringing back because the backup. But if you're going to bring in Geno Smith, I say you keep McCarthy and then Carson Wentz. I guess that's it. He could wind up with whoever, go back to the Chiefs or something. Who knows? Or the Packers, God forbid. But there's that. So that's the in-team free agents. Otherwise, like the overall, what the heck? I can't even do it now. There we go. The overall free agents out there. There's Tyreek Hill. There's been talk about he'd love to come to the Minnesota Vikings. He made $30 million last year, and his market value is still in the 15+ range. Isn't he coming off like just a demolition of an injury on his knee? And a guy who relies on his speed, and he's 30-something now. I'm done. Plus, he's kind of an ass. If you love the Vikings, that's great, but isn't he kind of an ass, though? I don't think I want to waste my time with that. Somebody, if you want to shore up that defense some more, I don't think he had a great season last year, and clearly he didn't when he goes from, they're saying he's going from basically 19 to his market value. People see him as making it about 8.5, but he's just under 30. Marshawn Lattimore. I wouldn't mind making a move like that. I'm guessing the Vikings aren't going that way because they have not managed the cap well at all. But he'd be the most expensive cornerback on the market other than him and Trevon Diggs, who went to the Packers, and his market value has dropped off the face of the earth as well. I would be quite interested in Marshawn Lattimore, though. I would. That's a name I would think about if you can get him in here. But again, I don't know if we have it. Travis Kelce. I hope the son of a gun retires. I think we're all sick of him and his sideshow. God bless him. I mean, he's not like the enemy of the planet or anything. You know, I mean, he's not. Oh yeah, I'm just saying he's not the devil reincarnated or anything. But I don't know, kind of tired of his act. I think we all are. I think most people are tired of his act. That he didn't make too big of an ass of himself last year as he did in previous years, at least. So he was a little bit better. It's about time he got humbled a little bit. Oh, God, Russell Wilson's a free agent. Don't bring him in, please. Don't be stupid. Don't do it. Gosh, they're saying they think his, at least on sporttrack.com, they're thinking his market value could still be just under $6 million. I wouldn't even know. I don't know, man. Yeah, he's 37. He'll be 30. Yeah, he'll be pushing, into the 37 range. Taysom Hill, he's an interesting one. He's 30. That can't be the same guy. No, that's somebody else. 30. Damn, he's old. Is it the same guy? 35.5? He's that old? Huh. Weird. That's really weird. I can't believe he's that old. But, sorry if I'm kind of making a drama show here. Marcus Mariota, I have almost no interest, but if that's who you like, I guess. I don't know. He doesn't do anything for me. James Daniels is on the Dolphins. He's still... That can't be the same guy. Is he that? He's just 28? He's the same guy that got drafted by the Bears years ago? Can't be the same guy. Because I'm pretty sure I was still living in Brooklyn Park when I did the draft preview about him. And he'd be a nice addition to the Vikings. That was 8 years ago. Was he 20? I guess. Huh. That's the darndest thing. Glasgow coming from Detroit, possibly. Yeah, but he's getting older. The Vikings need a veteran center. I don't know. I'm sick of these veteran players, though. I'm scared of them now. DJ Waddam. I don't know about that. Zach Ertz, 35. No. Cam Jordan. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, hey, come on home, right? Steve Jordan's son. Edge rusher, but he's 36.6. He's almost 37. I can't believe he's that old already. Yep. He didn't make that much last year either, but now he'll probably finish out his career as a Saint, most likely. Even though they're not really Saints, but they are Saints. I know I'm being kind of silly, but some of these interesting names. Austin Eckler's a free agent. He's a little older. I don't think the Vikings go that way. I think the Vikings go on the running back market. It's going to be on the draft. Like, they're going to get a younger person, somebody with he might be like one of those higher end running backs in the draft. We'll talk about that in a minute here. But when it comes to free agency, it's pretty much about the quarterback. Obviously, you might be looking to bring in a guard or two, a center. You're going to have to sign a center of some sort. Funny how the Patriots are already done with Mr. Bradbury. They're already done with Bradbury. They traded him to the Chicago Bears, for a 5th-round pick. So it's funny, Bradbury was actually one of the weaker linemen in the Super Bowl. And when you don't have good protection, you usually are in the losing end in the Super Bowl. In that situation, if the pass rush is getting to you time and time again, you're probably not going to win. And that's just kind of what happened. I mean, even like Brady went through hell, basically. In the Super Bowls, he lost to the Giants. So the Eagles one was just crazy and some trick plays and stuff. They were right in it, and of course the Patriots were in every Super Bowl they lost, except for this one. In the Brady era, every other Super Bowl that they were in without Brady, they got beat pretty badly, right? The 85 Patriots. Let's see, who did they play? Oh, the 85 Bears. Yeah, that was a demolition derby. The 96 Patriots. Good team and everything, but the Packers were way better, unfortunately. And, of course, this past year, the Seahawks were the better team. As much as I hate saying it, because I'd rather see the Patriots win. But Seahawks were clearly the better team, so it is what it is. Oh, I hate saying that. You have no idea how much. I mean, yeah, I wanted the Patriots to win that game, but we'll see. Kenny Pickett's even a possibility, but he does nothing for me. Like, Kenny Pickett, do you want him to be your bridge quarterback, possibly, or something? 28 years of age. He was on Las Vegas last year. It's weird. What a frickin' bleep zone Vegas has become. But, yeah, I mean, it's the Raiders. They were bad for a long time. Travis Etienne's only 27? Huh. I don't think I want him, but maybe. Yeah, he was still on the Jaguars. They didn't use him that much as the year progressed. Jimmy Garoppolo's even another one that might be a bridge quarterback. He was on the Rams last year. Guy got hurt so damn much, but he's not real expensive. I mean, that's a name that's been brought up possibly. But, yeah, you never know. But you keep hearing Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray. Oh, he's the number, the number one, he's like the number one choice of Kyler Murray. He'd love to come to the Vikings, and it sounds like the Vikings really want to get Kyler Murray. Please don't do it. I'd rather take my chance with Jimmy Garoppolo for a short-term thing, and then, the long-term thing with J.J. McCarthy. That's where I'm going. I'm sorry, but I don't know. I'm having nightmares about this kind of stuff. I just, McCarthy, what's his name? Kyler Murray's never going to win anything. And if he does, God bless him. I don't think he is. Geno Smith, again, well, maybe he can get a ring as a backup quarterback. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But obviously that's, it's a bold statement and everything. We're just but mostly just having fun with it. I kind of like J.K. Dobbins a little bit, coming from Denver, but they'll probably keep him. Running back, of course, if you're wondering what Joey's talking about. Kenneth Walker III, oh, yes. Yep, his salary went way the heck up. Yeah, yep, they're like, he's kind of looking at 9. So, God bless Kenneth Walker III, holy crap, so, just in school, give me a break. How could they even say he's going to get a raise? He didn't do schmuck with the Vikings. When he was in there, he stunk. For the lack of better words. So, free agency is what it is. I don't think the Vikings are going to have any type of big splash. But obviously, some quarterback is going to be brought in somehow. It's going to happen. Mock drafts. ESPN. Well, what do the Vikings have? What do they have the Vikings taking? Defensive tackle named Caleb Banks out of Florida. This is ESPN's version of the mock draft. Defensive tackle Javon Hargrave is expected to be released, and Jonathan Allen could follow, leaving the Vikings extremely thin along the interior defensive line. Totally understand that. 6'6", 327 pounds, Banks is a towering presence who would give Minnesota a key player inside. So, yes, he dropped 37 inches, jumped in his vertical. Some of that stuff, it's cool and everything, but I mean, I'd like to see the guy play as an NFL player, but I know it's easier said than done. You got to make your decisions, and you can't just put him in a test, like a pretend trade or whatever. It's either happens or it doesn't. Of course, Charles Davis, 2026 NFL mock draft. This is on the NFL.com for this one. It's just kind of fun to look at, all the different possible mock drafts. If it's like the same guy over and over again, like McCarthy was McCarthy over and over again. Of course, the Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza. Carnell Tate, he's going to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns. No trade with the Vikings coming up. Yeah, I don't think anything crazy like that's going to happen. Vikings would pick 18th. Dylan Thieneman, Oregon safety, of course, again. What's the thing you're going to think about with a Dylan Thieneman and the Oregon safety? Because of Harrison Smith, yes. He's probably on his way out, or he will be in a year. He's either done, or it's his second to final year here. Weird. That guy looks just like John Saunders. Weird. Not Dylan Thieneman or anything. Thieneman's athleticism on full display at the combine, and smarts are top notch. Yeah, sounds like a Harrison Smith type when you think about the smarts and such. Would be a perfect replacement for one of the best if Harrison Smith retires. Yep, a lot of people do see Harrison Smith as a potential Hall of Famer. This one has Caleb Smith going 19th to the Panthers. So instead of coming to the Vikings, he goes to the Panthers. Defensive tackle from Florida. Whoops, I'm hitting the wrong button here royally. So it is what it is. So far it's 2 defensive players. Mock draft simulator, should I try this? I don't know, these get kind of tiring after a while. Yeah, I'll play one out, and we'll do one during the draft episode as well. We'll have the free agency special and then the draft one. Walter Football, we end up clicking on this one every single time. So let's go for it. Come on, Walter Football. Where's all the information here? Obviously, Walter Football is notorious for having like about 17,000 ads. That's nothing new. But where's the damn draft? Where's the mock? I don't even see the mock. Come on, man. What is this? It's like everything but what I'm looking for. You son of a gun. Okay, where's the mock draft? Where's the mock draft? What's going on? Okay, it's right in front of me. Come on, Walt. Let's go, Walt. Walter Football. Yes, Mendoza's going number 1. We know. But isn't this the one where they split it in half? It's kind of annoying. So if you're picking 18th, you're going to end up having to... Yeah, it's so dumb. 17 to 32. Come on, man. Why, so you're going to have 19 more ads pop up for us? Dylan Thieneman. So maybe he's going to be the common denominator because Harrison Smith is probably going to retire and he'd be a perfect fit. So Oregon's Dylan Thieneman continuing. Of course, again, this is not the draft special episode, but it is curious to look at different mock drafts along the way, at minimum for fun. But Dylan Thieneman, he's now in 2 of them. I kind of understand why, though, in a lot of ways, because a certain guy's retiring. 2026 NFL mock draft tankathon. Yep, this is always fun. Especially the NBA and Caleb Banks. Okay, so it's a tie. Back to the tie here with Caleb Banks or Thieneman. He had no... Yeah. Caleb Banks' stats weren't all that exciting last year. Missed a bunch of time, unfortunately. But he's a senior. And, we'll see what happens with him. Jeremiah Love coming to Minnesota. Just kidding. Okay, that's a bit higher there. But running back. It'd be nice to get Jeremiah Love. That's somebody maybe the Vikings trade up for, but... Woo, this one has Caleb Downs. No, that's somebody else. I don't know, Caleb Banks. That's just throwing me off. Silly. Where do they have Thieneman going in this one? Woo, Dylan Thieneman going all the way up to going up to Dallas, 12th overall. So that's a pretty big jump compared to the other drafts. It's just Tankathon, which is a great page. I just love Tankathon. Come on, especially in the NBA with the stupid lottery thing. It does like a... Oh my God! It does like a lottery simulator. That's fun. NFL mock draft simulator. Oh boy, should I go for it just to be annoying? A goofball. We'll do it on the next show too. All right. Number of rounds will be taken. Let's go 3. Let's just do 3 rounds. I don't want to play forever here. Come on, let's go. Let's do some drafting, huh? Fernando Mendoza. Okay, just go. Why doesn't this just play? Oh, I have to press a button? I thought it started. Okay, press start. Yeah, Mendoza, a big surprise, going number 1. To the Vikings, of course. Vikings trade up. That's what's going to happen. We all know it. Tyson and Love and Downs, and there goes Delaney, and there goes Terrell, Lemon, Styles, Falk. Up, and the Colts are offering a 3rd rounder, a 4th rounder, a 5th rounder, 2027 round 2 and round 3 for the 18th draft. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a haul of draft picks, but it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna reject it for now. I don't. Maybe I should have taken it, huh? Yeah, maybe I should have. I guess I'm gonna take Caleb Banks out of these guys. Peter Woods, Kalen Sadiq. Offensive tackle, shoot, with the way Darisaha played last year, and O'Neill's been kind of been struggling. I guess I'll take Caleb Banks. Yeah, no, I'm just being boring, right? It's not moving quite as quick as we'd like, but no, it's okay. This is fun. I enjoy it. I'm not taking a tight end. I mean, I don't know. Not in the first round. I mean, I don't think that's the Vikings' biggest need is a tight end position. At the end of the day, this is not moving that fast. Oh, it's moving fast enough. I'm full of crap. When do we pick again? Okay, here we go. Here it comes. Second pick, 49th overall. And of course, everybody wants to trade with us. I don't want a 4th round pick. Come on, guy. Up, Seattle. Yeah. Ooh. What's this? Ooh. I don't even know who's available. That's the problem. So I just trade down a tiny bit, but it's like, yeah, fuck. Oh, bad language, pardon me. 4th round pick in 2027 from the Patriots. And just trading down 5 spots, and we get a 4th rounder. Oh, I would accept that probably, depending on who's there. Yeah, I mean, you're too much. No, go away. Oh my God. Too many trade offers. Gosh. Was there any running backs? Oh boy. This does not excite me at all. Oh, maybe I should have taken... Well, they didn't even let you look at who's available first. Stupid. Pardon my French. I'm sorry for cursing if you heard that. So, son of a gun. Cornerback Chris Johnson? Yeah, I think so. Cornerback Chris Johnson. Yeah, let's just shore up that defense, I suppose. Now we get to wait 5 years to our next pick. I did say just round 3, so I don't want to bore you to death here listening to me staring at players. Oh my God. Sorry for this now. This isn't going as fast as I would have liked, but okay. 82nd pick. This should be my last pick here. No, it's always weird like offers. I just don't want to do that. Oh, that one would have made sense. No, it wouldn't have. Antonio Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson, and another safety. Wow, yeah, there's a bunch of safeties. Edge rusher. Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a chance on Emmett Johnson. I've heard good things. I have. So we'll go with Emmett Johnson, running back. Yep. So out of Nebraska. He might be one of the guys I'm looking at in this draft going forward. So why am I on the clock? Oh, I guess I did get an extra third-round pick. Why would I want to trade down that far? Most of these offers are kind of, I mean, it's like a Rick Spielman kind of trade. Yes, you trade down and get like 9 like really late picks. It's just like, I don't know. Well, Zeki Wheatley, Penn State, he's actually ranked even higher than Emmett Thomas. Huh. Otherwise, quarterback Drew Alter out of Penn State. Alar. Okay, I'm going to go with this Zeki Wheatley. Go take a chance on him as a safety. That should be it. Yep. So, A. Wow. They're giving me some good grades here. Caleb Bankson, A. Chris Johnson, cornerback out of San Diego State, A+. Emmett Johnson, running back Nebraska, A+. Zeki Wheatley, A+ for the 97th overall pick. So, they liked my decisions there. Maybe I could be the GM. Here's my resume right here. I scored an A+ basically, 3 out of 4 times. You know, hey, it's got to be better than Kwesi, right? It's got to be better than Kwesi. And I didn't have to collaborate or talk about all that. We're going to collaborate. We're collaborating. We're going to collaborate. I'll just shut up and make the draft pick and make our team better. I don't care what you collaborated. Just like, what's his name, was a Family Guy. Yeah, that's why he was sleeping with one of the other employees. Great Family Guy. That was what the Wolves president of basketball that at the time, what was his name? I forgot his frickin' name. The guy that actually drafted Anthony Edwards. That was a joke, wasn't it? That would, of course, be Gerson Rosas. Great Family Guy. He's such a great family, and he cares so much about his family that he was sleeping with one of the other employees. Yeah, great. Just great. So, I mean, that was like, they made the whole press conference when he got hired and all that about what a great family person he was. It's just, yeah, I know. So, I don't care about all that collaboration crap. It's all a bunch of bull, because it really isn't. Apparently, he wasn't a good collaborator either. So, just like, so when you hear all that crap at like meetings and stuff at work, just take it with a grain of salt. I don't buy it. So, yeah, I mean, hoping for Geno Smith, hoping the Vikings take a running back and a safety. Those are probably 2 positions I'd be hoping for if I'm the, I'd be hoping for as a fan of the Minnesota Vikings, and if I'm the president of football or whatever, or the general manager for the Minnesota Vikings, I'd be hoping for at least those 2 positions. Wouldn't mind shoring up the offensive line a bit as well. I'm not counting a whole lot on free agency other than quarterback, and there's some nice possibilities out there, sure. But that I mentioned, a couple guys. I mean, Lattimore would be great, though I don't know how much you're going to have to spend to get him. Free agency teams tend to overspend, and I think the Vikings really can't be doing that right now. So focus on the draft, I think, improving this team. That's what I'm looking at, improving the team in the draft. Making actual good draft picks would be nice for once. It's been a long time for that. So with that, we'll take a quick break and come back for fan interaction. And we are back here on Purple Mafia State of the Vikings 2026 fan interaction. And I was talking about the biggest surprise. Dave Hickey responded with good. No one either good. Neither one really did much to help the Vikings. I think he saw it was a tie with Eric. I think Eric Wilson helped a lot though, unless he's looking at the wrong people. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about someone else. I mean, he might have been. I think he was talking about guys getting released. That's what he meant to. Talk about like what's his name, like Aaron Jones is what I'm guessing. But yeah, hard to say. I'm gonna go back to the notifications. Most of it was Dave Hickey responding to the ups and downs of the season. Oh, that might be it. There might not be any more. That's a bummer. Yeah, Matt Martin was expecting a defensive battle in the Super Bowl. The Patriots were bound to be found out after that easy schedule. Yeah, and rubbish is one word for it. Yep, that'd be that Super Bowl halftime show back on February 8th, of course. I think we already read everything. Whoops. Okay, this is different. This is different. Yep, let's go back. Come on. I think we're talking about, well, he's saying, it was very sad. I was looking forward to him playing last year. He would have been a difference maker before his injury. Yep, that would be that'd be the young man that committed suicide. Terrible story, I'll continue to say. Oh, yes. I'm such a jerk already. I've got the callings. That's what's going to carry this. Wait, hold on. Biggest surprise, Eric Wilson, a free agent that we drafted, then cut and brought back. Yep, okay, sorry. Yep. So, yes, let's hear from Gerald Syring at the very least and see if we have Dave Hickey as well.
Hey, Joy, Gerald out of South Dakota here. Just going to do a quick call in and do my 2025 wrap up for you. Um, I'll start out with my biggest surprise was just how the season ended, I guess. Surprisingly, we went on a 5-game win streak there. The defense was unbelievable. Um, I always want to see my team win. I don't believe in tanking and trying to get a better draft pick. I mean, all the players are playing for contracts, the coaches, and I don't know, it's just the way I am. Like, I just want to see my team win. It's hard for me to contemplate like why you would want your team to lose. I get the draft picks and all that, but that doesn't guarantee you're gonna actually get a better player anyhow. So, yeah, it was fun to watch them down the stretch there. My biggest surprise from a player standpoint was Jalen Naylor. I've always kind of been a fan of Jalen Naylor. I was actually in Minneapolis for a Vikings game, and there's a Nebraska Cornhuskers bar down there right next to the Embassy Suites. Like, if you go there for every Nebraska game, um, it's always full of Nebraska fans, and it's just they do the "Go Big Red" chant and everything, and we're there, and Nebraska's playing Michigan State, and we pretty much thought we had that game won. It was a really great game. Nebraska hasn't been so great anyway the last few years, but for us, that was awesome. We were going to beat Michigan State, and it was getting close to the end of the game, and we punted to Jalen Naylor, and he just torched us. I mean, he took it to the house, and I've always just been a fan ever since, and I like the way, I'm glad that we drafted him, and I like the way that he's developed, and man, that's a nice 1-2-3 punch there. So, yeah, hopefully we can keep him around for a while. So, biggest disappointment, well, I always say this every year, and we didn't win the Super Bowl. We didn't make the playoffs this year, but no, my biggest disappointment was the media pressure that everybody put on J.J. McCarthy. I just think it's ridiculous, to be quite frank. I don't think we know what we got in J.J. McCarthy yet, but what I seen was a kid that has confidence. He got pretty tough. Like the games that he, especially the beginning there, the games that he wasn't so great. I mean, our offensive line has never, we just never have played that consistently. But I've seen a tough kid. I've seen a kid that could take off and run. Pretty athletic when he would run. He could get some first downs. He could move the ball. He could move the team down the field. I've seen a kid that made some dang good throws, and I've seen a kid that made some dang bad throws. But I felt like he just matured as the year went on and got a little better. And it's just kind of bullshit that the media, like, oh, he's a bust and he's this and he's that. I'm not saying he's the next franchise quarterback, but I'm saying we don't know. He's definitely not a bust in my book, and we just don't know. We need to keep him healthy, obviously, right? But he legitimately beat Chicago, Detroit, Dallas, the Commanders. I mean, I don't know, but like the Commanders weren't too. They had an off year this year, but those other three teams were legit playoff teams. In Chicago, he just about beat twice, and he played pretty darn good those games. And I just don't. Um, the it's almost like fake news. Even the NFL anymore, they're about as good as the national news. Like you just can't read it because there's just fake news, or there's just I don't know. But we don't know what we got in J.J. McCarthy yet. I think we're fine, and now they're talking about bringing in Joe Burrow and all this stuff, and man, that we're going to go Kirk Cousins all over again, and we're going to put a mortgage on our team like we always did, and this is going to hold us back. I'm all in favor of. I think that's where Kevin O'Connell wants to go. You can't read through all the media. You don't know, but I think that J.J. McCarthy is his guy. So anyway, I'm fine with him. We don't know yet. That's where I'm at with that. My biggest disappointment from a player standpoint, I guess, Ivan Pace Jr. Like what happened to him. Like I don't. All of a sudden, he's just not getting a lot of play time. I don't think it's injury. It could be, but it just seems like he's active for the game. He just doesn't get a lot of snaps. We do have a lot of outstanding linebackers, but I'm not sure. I'm not saying he's disappointing that when he did get in there, but I don't know what's going on with him and the coaching and why he doesn't get more play time. Then, Ryan Kelly, or, getting rid of Bradbury. I think that was, our ownership getting rid of Cam. I think there's more than just, I don't know. I think there's a lot of parts going on there, but he's got our salary cap in a mess. And that Ryan Kelly, I mean, I always thought Bradbury was fine. I didn't think he was top. He might have been top 12 or 14 when he was in there, but he played good enough. He wasn't the reason most of the time. If we get in some big games, like just his stature, he would get, you'd hear the word forklift a lot. And I mean, that was a leverage issue. That wasn't a Bradbury playing bad issue. And this Ryan Kelly, man, I mean, what a bust that's been. And Bradbury, the only thing he did was play in the Super Bowl. They didn't win, but those were my two disappointing players of the year, Ivan Pace and Ryan Kelly. So I guess, the whole thing about Cam being let go and stuff, I mean, you had the Ryan Kelly and then the Will Fries will probably be okay. But Javon Hargraves, the other guy, Jonathan Allen, man, they got a lot of cap space and some old guys like that. And oh man, we had Jalen Redmond came on um, this year, and I just don't know why he thought. The other one was Harrison Phillips. I never thought he was a bad guy. I thought he was a team guy, and we got rid of those and got these old guys that were really expensive. And I don't know, like they played okay, but I don't know. There's a lot of disappointing things about the Vikings this year, but I can kind of see. I'm kind of on board with what the ownership is probably looking at there. I'm thinking that there's a breakdown again between the general manager and the head coach, and you just can't have that. So I'll end on a high note. Most valuable player, Andrew Van Ginkel. What a stud. Uh, Hope we can keep him around forever. But as he goes, our defense goes. When he's out, it seems like a struggle. When he's in there, everybody just rallies. And hopefully we get Jonathan Grenard back. We didn't even have him down that 5-game stretch. So a lot of things to be hopeful for as a Vikings fan. One of these years, who knows? Maybe we'll bring home the Super Bowl. I don't know. Every year I get older, you have less confidence that's going to happen in your lifetime. But you know what? I'm a Vikings fan. I've been a Vikings fan since basically I was born. Since I was watching them since I can never remember, like 4 or 5 years old, watching Franny Tarkington. So they're my team. So we got a lot of things to look forward to next year, I think. So I just mainly the way they finished and we can keep that going. We kept Brian Flores. That was pretty awesome. So Joey, thanks for all the hard work. Um, I know it's hard, and I'm just appreciate. I know there's other people also that appreciate what you do. I like your NFL roundup. It helps me with all my. I don't do big time gambling, but I do small time like football pools, and I did. Oh, I do some year end playoff. Oh, what do you call it? Elimination pool or survivor pool. There you go. And so I always use your information. You always got good information on your games. I do like listening to that. So otherwise I don't know where else I'd get any information like that. But appreciate the show. We'll talk to all you guys next year. Skull Purple Mafia Nation.
And I can't thank you enough, Gerald Syring, for that call in. Also, should mention Dave Hickey. Yep, there is a call in, but it's from a while back. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So yes, I have it ready to go. We'll get to what Gerald had to say first. Yep. So the surprise Jalen Naylor, and you admired what he could do when he was in college when he returned a kick. And yes, I mean Jalen Naylor definitely was a nice positive for the Vikings this year, and definitely somebody you'd like to keep around if possible. And I don't think anybody's going to throw like a fortune at him, so he should be fairly affordable. Like some of his mediocre performances after his really good ones may have helped keep his price reasonable for the Vikings to bring him back. Disappointments all over the place, like you talked about. The pressure on J.J. McCarthy was ridiculous, and the whole thing about giving up on him, it's like to the truth about we don't know if J.J. McCarthy's a franchise quarterback or not. I agree with that. That's why I would definitely be willing to go with Geno Smith in this one, possibly. Like Geno Smith could kind of compete for the starting job, and at worst, basically, be a bridge quarterback to J.J. McCarthy. Otherwise, a nice, solid veteran backup quarterback. It kind of depends on what Geno Smith is thinking as well. Is he willing to be a veteran backup, or is it just starter, starter, starter? And if that's the case, if he's looking to be a starter, I don't think he can be in any position to do that. He had kind of a meh year last year, and he's getting older, obviously. They lost a lot of games in Vegas, and I don't think Geno Smith is the answer to, like, take your team to the Super Bowl. But a bridge quarterback, yes, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards Geno Smith. So, yes, I agree 100% about, not giving up on J.J. McCarthy based on the grand scheme of things. If it's him, like say maybe Geno, it's kind of like 2014 of all over again, maybe where Mr. Why am I forgetting his name? Matt Castle started the season, and then eventually Teddy Bridgewater took over. It could end up that way, or in this case, where McCarthy is the starter, no matter it's starter, and then Geno Smith is a valuable backup, particularly in the guy can't stay healthy. Him being McCarthy, or if he looks like he's falling apart out there, that Geno can kind of come in and McCarthy can kind of sit and learn and improve, that type of thing. So that's right. I'm pro Geno going into this offseason. If you're going to bring in somebody, bring in an older backup type of guy. Like when I saw the Vikings sign Sam Howell, I almost like flipped my bleepity bleep, or was it a trade for Sam Howell? Sorry, I almost flipped out. Like, okay, he's also a young guy who's done absolutely nothing and has actually been a turnover machine. That's your backup quarterback? So it was kind of funny, and of course, yes, they ended up trading him away to Seattle of all places, and then the Vikings ended up bringing in Carson Wentz, but at like the last minute. So Carson Wentz wasn't necessarily all completely up to speed with his offense. It would have been nice to have brought him in April or something, where you could have mini camps and such. Maybe, that would have worked out a little better, where Carson Wentz might have been more prepared. And then, of course, the way they pretty much put him through the torture chamber, as we'll hear from Dave Hickey coming up in his call-in. The MVP, Andrew Van Ginkel, according to Gerald, yes. I can understand that one. Definitely a guy that makes the Vikings much better when he's available than when he isn't. I was frustrated with the injuries last year with him, and of course Blake Cashman. Guys like that, their value is insane. When they're on the field, the Vikings are much better. When they're out, it's the Vikings suffer. The other disappointments, though, when you actually mentioned players, Ivan Pace, like what the heck happened there? That was actually a pretty good choice. And then Ryan Kelly, to me, I think was the absolute winner for disappointment of the year. Like, you brought him in and he was virtually worthless, like I was saying in segment number 1. So, yeah, pretty cool. I like the call-in a lot. I really enjoyed that. Good analysis and good conversation, and can't agree more about J.J. McCarthy, that we don't know. I mean, you can't just give up. I don't think you can give up on him, and he did show flashes that there's something. There is something there. He's not Christian Ponder. Christian Ponder wasn't clutch like that. Christian Ponder always seemed to come up short one way or another, be it like his, he's scrambling for a first down, he'd always magically be short. He's trying to make the big play, and it would be incomplete. McCarthy can make big plays, and McCarthy can get the first downs and such when he's scrambling. He just seemed to be more, he's just more clutch. So the Christian Ponder comparisons, some of the statistics like the quarterback rating and stuff were ugly as hell. I get it, but generally speaking, I think there's more than meets the eye with J.J. McCarthy. The Dave Hickey call, we're going to get to that right now.
This message goes out to Joey Awajan and the Purple Mafia faithful. It's Dave Hickey. Another disappointing loss. We just shot ourselves in the foot again. Basically every game except for the Chargers blowout. Self-inflicted penalties, trading special teams penalties in for turnovers. Miles Price, can you kneel in the end zone once and start at the 35 instead of the 20? And every player on offense basically had a false start. Ridiculous. We're beating ourselves over and over. 2 air balls, Justin Jefferson missing passes. It's just getting out of hand. We had Carson Wentz in there trying to help us, but he was a wounded warrior, and Kevin O'Connell should have never played him the last 2 games. Well, that's about all I have to say about that. Thanks for listening. Skol Vikings.
And I thank you, Dave Hickey. I apologize for the tardiness of this, receiving this call. So what happened was, Dave Hickey did send it to the correct place. I'd been always looking in frickin' Yahoo and not paying attention. So from now on, it is going to be 100% paladinolive@gmail.com, paladinolive@gmail.com. So yes, Dave, in the future, if you want to call in, yes, paladinolive@gmail.com. That one does work. For some reason on Yahoo, stuff seems to disappear, and I don't understand it. Dave Martin, same thing. Dave Martin, Mad Martin, or anybody else. Tanae Brown, I believe, called into this show before. I know he's definitely called into Timberwolves Explosion because he's a legend there. He's a legend here, too, though. Tanae Brown did make the Hall of Fame for Purple Mafia, and he deserves to be there. So, yes, if you're going to, in any of these call-ins where you pick up your smart device, press record, and then when you're done, you share it to an email address, it is going to be paladinolive@gmail.com from now on, 100%. Yahoo.com is over. I don't know what the heck they're doing in Yahoo. I don't know why the heck the call-ins are disappearing. I feel like a jerk and an idiot for missing people's call-ins. That might be what happened with when Mr. Leland Albertson a while back was like, this guy just ignores he ignores his listeners. People are trying to communicate to him. 1,000%, I would never do that on purpose. I would never do that on purpose. I promise you 1,000 times. And, I apologize for the frustration and stupidity of it all. And I take full responsibility for not correcting this sooner. So I deeply apologize. And from now on, paladinolive@gmail.com. And that's the only place, because it actually works. There's only one problem with the Yahoo email. It didn't work. It sometimes did when it felt like it. So like the stuff I have from Dave Hickey is showing from 24 and 23 and all of that. So, and even one from 2020 a while back, Dylan Richardson way back in 2017. Man, that's crazy. So, and yes, Purple Mafia was already 9 years old that year. Yeah, that's how old Purple Mafia is. It's the oldest podcast in the world, basically. Just about. It's one of the oldest podcasts on Earth. For it to be active the entire time, it is. It's one of the oldest podcasts on the planet. I'm not saying that to brag. It's just the way it is. So anyhow, paladinolive@gmail.com. I should change that right now and everything. So that just it doesn't happen anymore. I don't know why Yahoo's gobbling up call-ins. That's pretty stupid. Who knows? So yes, Dave Martin as well out there, Northern Scotland. God bless you. And Dave Hickey, I am just so sorry for missing that call and maybe missing others, because I'm sure you would have made a really cool call in like Gerald did when it came to that the review, but the year in review. But you sent some great tweets, so both of you guys deserve a platinum laced gold star for this show. Thank you. I mean, that was awesome. You guys I really appreciate you. Mike Dale might be a listener to Mysterious Adventures, as he kind of popped in, just in case. He kind of popped into the Instagram, followed, and it looked like Mysterious Adventures. It shows on Spotify like that. It's right around the same time a new follower popped in. So hope you're enjoying that one, Mike. Just in case you're, I'm guessing you're listening to this episode of Purple Mafia. Maybe if you can, send me an instant message what you think of Mysterious Adventures. Is it weird? Is it cool? Is it meh? Let me know. Mysterious Adventures. Check out that podcast stuff if you want to listen to some mysterious stuff, fun stuff. Anything from like the Roanoke colony that happened in 1585. Yes, there were people in what would be North Carolina. Yeah. Dracula, the real one, Yeah. Some things out of the Bible, of course, some other mysterious, interesting things. Just, check that show out. So sorry for plugging here. I don't mean to be like, oh, it's all about plugging my shows. No, I mean, it's different. It's different. It's like if you want some kind of a different vibe, non-sports related, there you go. But again, I just deeply apologize for missing the calls. The fact that you took time out of your day to call into this show is, I appreciate you so much. And I feel like I feel awful for missing the calls. And, I feel terrible about it, let me tell you. So, I mean that with full sincerity. So, yes, please, Gmail from here on, palladinolive@gmail.com. And this will continue. Gerald, thank you so much. That was a great call in, by the way. So, I've said that a few times, and because it was. At Purple Mafia Show, of course, is the Twitter. I don't even think I mentioned that, but it is all in the show description. At Purple Mafia Show on Instagram, at Purple Mafia Show. Well, it's not on Facebook because Facebook sucks because everything blew up there again. There is a Facebook page, but I can't even access it because somebody hacked the full account. I may recreate it again, but I'm kind of tired of doing that, so I have no idea what to do anymore. I might. I don't know. It is what it is. Congratulations to the U.S. men's and women's Olympic team, both winning the gold medal for hockey. Wow, isn't that the coolest thing ever? See, the women were the favorites all the time, but the men to do it for the first time since 1980 is like the coolest thing ever. Like, oh my God. And to think that 3 of those guys are on the Minnesota Wild, isn't it the coolest thing? Like, Brock Faber will be remembered for the rest of time as a gold medalist in the in Olympic hockey, Quinn Hughes, oh my God, he might lead the Wild to a Stanley Cup, along with Brock Faber and Matt Boldy. That's the other one. Like, remember all those players, and you just thought of them like, wow, this guy and that guy, and man, Neil Brodin, oh my God, that's hockey immortality right there. And then now you get Matt Boldy, you get Brock Faber. See, Brock Faber's like the Neil Brodin because he was the Gophers and then the Wild, just like Neil Brodin, the Gophers and the North Stars, and it's the coolest thing ever. Just doggone it, if only the Gophers could have finished off Quinnipiac. It would have been like Neil Broughton as well, winning a national championship in his last college game. My heart aches for that guy with how that all kind of collapsed, and the Gophers lost that game in overtime. Still bugs me to this day. But anyhow, welcome to Brave the Wild. Well, yeah, it's Purple Mafia, but Brave the Wild there for a minute. But when a historic event like that takes place, during the course of in between the last Purple Mafia show to this one, I got to bring it up. It's 46 years in the making, so it was one of the coolest things of all time. I did do a special Brave the Wild episode if you want to check it out right around that time. So you'll notice which one it is by the title. Anyhow, because I got to stop plugging stuff, but I didn't do that even to plug it. It just was a historic event that I thought, should be brought up on Purple Mafia. It's so cool. And plus, it was flashing on the screen just now. That would also tell you something. It was just like, yeah, I should probably mention that. Well, anyway, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully the Vikings make the right decisions in this offseason. And, man, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fascinating free agency and draft. And we'll have to wait and see who the next true GM of the Minnesota Vikings is. I don't think it's going to be Brzezinski, but some people do. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be Rob Brzezinski. I think he's going to. I think he preferred to stay in his role, but we'll have to wait and see how that all turns out at the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends about the show. Continue to share it on Twitter and Instagram and I guess Facebook if it's possible. I'm sure you can. I can put out story. I can put out the story, like on the story, where it's a link to it. That's all I'm going to do pretty much for Facebook now. I've just given up on that. Otherwise, yeah, tell your friends about the show and hopefully the Vikings, again, make the right decisions here going forward.